Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. So, what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is the idea that there's a rumor going around now that there will be a new Man of Steel sequel that they're going to start working on pretty soon. Now, this hasn't been released in any official capacity, but supposedly, I guess, people who know or have connections to people who know have found out that Superman is a heavy priority for the DC universe, and we want to get him right for the fans. These are supposedly some quotes that were taken from somebody who knows that Man of Steel 2 will soon be in development. Now, I can only assume that since Justice League is going full tilt, and since the Batman with Ben Affleck, who was in the Superman movie together with Superman, is going to be Batman for the foreseeable future, that they're not going to go ahead and change the whole Superman deal and get a new Superman or get rid of Henry Cavill or anything like that. And I haven't really heard too many complaints about Cavill. I just haven't heard a ton of praise. You know, when Batman v Superman was out in theaters and when the reviews were going around, everybody said Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman's appearances were the best part of the movie and the only good thing that happened in the movie, although Ben Affleck was also very good as Batman. No one really ever says anything about how Cavill is as Superman, except for maybe fans like myself, who think he's a great Superman and is doing a great job. Regardless of whether or not you like the writing or the movies, or Zack Snyder directing the movies, or whatever, Henry Cavill is Superman in these films, and he's playing him the way they have written the films. So there's not all that much he can do to change that. So I would say going forward, we're pretty safe with Henry Cavill. Based on that comment, if any of this is official at all, and nobody official has come out to say that it is, based on those comments, it seems as though they might make some changes to how Superman is portrayed, although the way the movies have gone so far, we have seen a bit of development from Superman from the beginning, and he's learning things and learning not to do certain things, and I believe he is evolving into the Superman he wants to be, which is hopefully much more closely skewed to the Superman that all the fans are complaining he isn't so far, due to the writers and Zack Snyder's ineptitude as a director, in their opinion. Now, most of the time, directors like this don't stick around with the same character or the same project, which would be the DC Universe Extended Film U, forever or for very long. If you look at the Iron Man films, or you look at the Star Trek universe as reimagined by J.J. Abrams, they move on as time goes on. So they may still be producers, or they may still be part of the creative effort, but at some point, the director himself will say, I'm going to hand the reins over to somebody else. Now, with what's going on with Superman and with the new universe and kind of the lukewarm reception of Batman v Superman, I could certainly see Warner Brothers moving on. And when they supposedly say things like, we want to get the character right, that's kind of a dig at Zack Snyder, who still works for you at the moment, and as far as we know, is trying to do the best job that he can. First of all, he's not the writer. They write the script. It probably gets approved by Warner Brothers people. There's probably certain rules they have to follow. There's all kinds of hoops you have to jump through. I don't believe Zack Snyder is the be-all, end-all in terms of what he says goes as he's using these characters. DC wouldn't just say, well, do whatever you want. So I think that there's a lot of people it has to go through. There's a lot of people that have to approve it. And everybody at Warner Brothers, with both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, when these movies were screened, all the executives loved it. You're going to love it. It's the greatest. Now, I guess you could say, well, what would you expect them to say? But they were universally praising of the movies before they came out, and before some people complained, and before some critics had issues. Although I still maintain they had these issues before a frame was even shot, and were planning on not liking them to begin with. But you sing this guy's praises, you sing about how great the movies are, and then a little time goes by, and you get some complaints from fans, and you get some complaints from critics, and suddenly we want to get it right for the fans. And that kind of indicates that it hasn't been gotten right so far, and maybe it hasn't. I don't know that there's ever been a portrayal of Superman that has been right for everyone, or right in terms of exactly what he is. There's been so many different interpretations through the years in television, comics, cartoons, video games. What's right? Taking bits and pieces from here and there and putting together the best story and the best character you can is what you try to do. Sometimes you fail, and maybe Zack has in a lot of people's eyes. Maybe some people love it, but I don't think you should make kind of underhanded digs at the guy that you were praising before, that you hired, that you currently have working on Justice League. If you're not going to use him, or you really want to go in a different direction, admit you made a mistake, admit you lied about liking the movies or whatever, or and then move on and then hire somebody else and move in whatever direction you want, or just do it and make it look like it was a normal process. Don't kind of come out and backhand people in a kind of a nasty way when you're still working with them and when they're still trying to do what they can do for you. But I do hope we get a Man of Steel 2. I hope the rumor proves to be true, and it only makes sense that it should still be Henry Cavill and his supporting cast that we've seen so far, because the DCU is still going strong, even if a lot of people don't want it to or don't think it should. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky. Ba 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 da 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 da.